Welcome to the AI SEC Agents Podcast, Episode 3.
Great to be here.
Before we jump in, just want to mention our sponsor, SEC Agents.
Yes, SEC Agent.
They're a security AI agent startup, and they're all about automating cybersecurity. Think specialized AI agents doing threat hunting, offensive security, SOC analysis, that's SOC, SOC analysis, threat intel, security engineering, loads more.
Really cutting-edge stuff. You can check them out at secagents.io.
Secagents.io, exactly.
Yeah.
So today, phishing. It's everywhere, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's probably the most persistent threat vector out there. If you're online, you're a target.
And the stats are just, well, they're kind of mind-blowing. It's often cited that something like 90% of data breaches start with phishing.
It is staggering, honestly. 90%. When you think about all the complex attacks, the malware, the exploits,
Yeah.
it nearly always comes back to tricking a person, that initial foothold.
It really puts those big news stories into perspective, like, remember the Colonial Pipeline attack?
Oh, yeah. Huge disruption.
Massive. And while everyone talked about ransomware, the way in, reportedly, was a compromised password. And how do you often get those?
Phishing. Or at least it's a very common way. Someone clicks a link, enters credentials on a fake page. Boom.
Exactly. And look at the impact fuel shortages, billions lost, all potentially stemming from one successful phish. It's not just stolen passwords. It's critical infrastructure sometimes.
And the direct costs are enormous, too. IBM's breach report last year, phishing was, I think, the second most common vector.
Right.
And it led to some of the highest average costs per breach, millions, plus the reputational damage, which is harder to quantify but just as real.
But security teams, the folks in the SOC, they're just drowning in potential phishing alerts, right? It's a constant battle.
Totally. Alert fatigue is a massive issue, which brings us nicely to what we're diving into today.
Yes. We're looking at something pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Phishing Triage Agent. It's part of Microsoft Defender XDR in their Security Copilot suite.
And the interesting part is using AI to automate that first crucial step, sorting through all those user-reported emails.
Okay, so our mission, if you will, is to unpack how this AI agent actually works, what difference it makes for the SOC teams, and, what it means for businesses trying to defend against this relentless phishing onslaught.
Let's get into it. So picture this. An employee gets an email, thinks, this looks dodgy, and reports it using the tools in Microsoft Defender XDR.
Okay, standard procedure in many places.
Right, and that's the trigger. The phishing triage agent immediately grabs that alert, like the moment it's reported.
Just snaps it up, no waiting.
Pretty much instantaneous. It ingests the alert, and then the real work begins. It starts dissecting the email.
Dissecting how? What's it looking for?
Everything. The headers, the technical routing info, sender details, all the metadata, any links in the email body, of course.
Naturally.
And really importantly, any attachments. It pulls all these pieces out for analysis.
So it's like digital forensics on the fly.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. It's looking for those subtle clues, a spoofed address, a link that looks okay but redirects somewhere nasty, suspicious file types.
Okay, it's got all this data. How does it decide if it's actually bad? Just comparing it to a list.
Well, that's part of it. It takes all those indicators, URLs, sender IPs, file hashes, and checks them against huge, constantly updated threat intelligence databases. Think lists of known malicious sites, known malware fingerprints, stuff like that.
Makes sense. Standard practice?
But it often goes further. It can use something called sandbox analysis.
Ooh, sandbox. Tell me more.
So imagine a secure, isolated virtual test environment, a digital sandbox. The agent can actually detonate the attachment or visit the link inside this safe space.
Without risking the actual company network.
Exactly. Watches what happens. Does the file try to install something? Does the link try to run a script or download malware? It observes the behavior.
Wow, okay. That's clever. So it's not just about whether it looks bad, but whether it acts bad.
Precisely. It adds a whole layer of confidence to the analysis. So, based on the threat intel checks and the sandbox behavior, the agent makes a call.
It classifies it.
Right. Is it harmless, a false positive? Is it kind of suspicious, but maybe not outright malicious? Or is it definitely malicious?
And what happens then? Depends on the classification, I guess.
Absolutely. If the agent is highly confident it's malicious, it can do something really powerful automatically.
Which is?
It can quarantine similar emails across the entire organization's Microsoft 365 setup instantly.
Whoa. Okay, so it finds one bad one, figures out what it looks like, and then just yanks any others like it straight out of people's inboxes.
Yep. Stops the spread dead in its tracks, prevents others from clicking or opening. It's a huge time saver and risk reducer compared to waiting for a human analyst.
No kidding, that speed must be critical in a fast-moving attack.
It really is. And the automation continues. The agent can then automatically create a security incident in Microsoft Sentinel. That's their CM tool.
Right, the big security dashboard.
Or, and this is where it gets really interesting, in terms of agent collaboration, it can escalate the whole thing to the SOC Analyst Agent.
Ah, so the AI agents talk to each other. That's the security co-pilot idea, right? Different agents working together.
That's the core concept. We'll have to dig into that SOC Analyst Agent another time. But yeah, the phishing agent does the initial heavy lifting, the triage, and then hands off the complex cases.
A seamless handoff. That makes sense.
And this whole process we've described, from email reported to analysis, classification, maybe even quarantine.
How long does that take?
Seconds, maybe minutes in complex cases involving sandboxing, but generally incredibly fast, compared to potentially hours for a human analyst to do the same thorough job on just one email.
Seconds versus hours. Multiply that by hundreds or thousands of reports a day in a big company. That's transformative for the SOC.
It really is. Think about that alert fatigue we mentioned. Analysts get buried. This agent, according to Microsoft's data, can filter out something like over 95% of reported emails that turn out not to be malicious.
95% of the noise just gone.
Essentially, yeah. The false positives, the benign stuff, it lets the human analysts focus their brain power on the genuine, tricky threats that actually need their expertise.
That must make a huge difference to their effectiveness, and probably their sanity too. Fewer missed threats because they're not wading through junk.
That's a massive benefit. When you're overwhelmed, things slip through. By automating that first pass accurately, the agent acts like a crucial safety net. Fewer real attacks get missed.
It's like having a tireless, super-fast first responder just for email security.
A very good analogy. And thinking about how it connects to other agents, like that SOC Analyst Agent, you start to see the potential for a more autonomous defense.
Right. The phishing agent spots and contains, the analyst agent investigates deeper, maybe correlates it with other alerts.
Exactly. And this links into that bigger idea of an autonomous SOC.
Where the machines handle a lot more automatically.
Precisely. And the technology enabling this collaboration is key. Things like agent-to-agent protocols, or A2A.
A2A. What's that exactly?
Think of it as a common language for these security AI agents. It allows them to talk to each other, share information, delegate tasks, request actions, even across different security tools or platforms.
So the phishing agent could use A2A to instantly tell the SOC analyst agent, hey, look at this incident I created, or confirm quarantine was successful.
Exactly that. And the SOC Analyst Agent could use A2A to query other agents, maybe a threat intel agent for more context, or trigger automated responses, all without needing a human to manually stitch things together in those first critical moments.
Okay, so A2A is like the plumbing that lets these specialized AI tools work together seamlessly.
A good way to think about it, yeah. It facilitates that vision of a SOC that can react much faster, more consistently around the clock, reducing the burden on people, reducing errors caused by fatigue.
It's about augmenting the human experts, not replacing them entirely, but letting AI handle the volume and speed.
That's the sweet spot, I think. Leveraging AI for what it's good at, processing vast data quickly to free up humans for complex analysis and decision-making.
All right, let's try and wrap this up. Key takeaways from today's deep dive. This Microsoft Defender XDR phishing triage agent is a big deal for automating that first response to reported emails.
Definitely. It ingests the alert, pulls the email apart, checks indicators against threat intel, uses sandboxing for behavioral analysis.
Then classifies it. And if it's bad, it can automatically quarantine similar emails organization-wide.
Super valuable step. And then it creates incidents or escalates to the SOC Analyst Agent.
And the speed is incredible seconds, not hours, which drastically cuts down the workload and alert fatigue for SOC teams.
Filters out over 95% of the noise, letting analysts focus on real threats, meaning fewer things get missed.
Plus, we touched on how this fits into the bigger picture, with agents collaborating via protocols like A2A, pushing towards a more autonomous SOC.
Yeah, faster response, happier analysts, better overall phishing defense, more scalable security, lots of positives.
So a final thought for you, the learner, listening in. If AI can automate phishing triage this effectively, where else in cybersecurity might we see this kind of transformation?
Good question. Think about vulnerability management, threat hunting, incident response. The potential is huge.
How might AI agents change how companies defend against all sorts of evolving threats? And what does that mean for security pros? What new skills might be needed? Lots to ponder there.
It's definitely a space to watch. AI in security ops is here now, and it's only going to become more integrated.
Indeed. Well, this deep dive was brought to you by SEC Agents. Don't forget to visit secagents.io, that's SECAGENTS.io, to learn more about their security AI agents for automating threat hunting, offensive security, SOC analysis, threat intel, and security engineering.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for joining us on the AI SEC Agents podcast.